Hello again, and welcome back. This is Donald Potter, and I'm excited to be working. This is our last set of Greek combining forms. So, if you've stuck with me this far, I'm sure that you've already noticed improvement in your reading. And this is lesson 52, Greek combining forms number 4, the Roman numeral 4 there. And this is Beyond Basic Phonics, English Morphology 101 with Donald Potter. So here we go. Gon means angle. So polygon means many angles. Pentagon, again, let me show you an angle there. You can have all kind of angles like that. So then you have pentagon as 5. Hexagon is 6 sides. Octagon is 8 sides. And then we have the study of angles, which is called trigonometry. And this trig here has to do with 3. So geometry kind of has to do with the idea of figuring out the relationship between those angles and sides. And metry means to measure. And trigonometry was one of my favorite subjects in high school. At the time, I wondered, what will I ever use this for? And then I got into the field of electronics. And boy, I use trigonometry all the time, sine, cosine, tangents, and so on. Number 2, we have POL, which is the idea of things relating to city and city government. So we have police. They make sure the city is safe. My son is a veteran policeman, and I'm very, very proud of his work. Then we have politics, people that are involved in taking care of government. It can be city politics and can go beyond the city to the state or to the nation or the world. Politician, notice that shun in there. Politician is someone who's involved in politics. Let's see, we have political and then politician. Political and then politician. Metropolis is like a big bustling city with lots of people and lots of things going on. Metropolitan has to do with city government, metropolitan. I had to put Indianapolis in here. I was born and lived many years in Indiana, and Indianapolis is the state capital. And so when you combine Indian and city, you have Indianapolis. And then you have policy. A policy is what you're going to follow to make your city work real well. What's your policy? What's your plan? Number 3, we have PHYS, which is nature. So we have a physician, another word for a doctor, a physician, and he has to know nature to take care of your body. Physiology is the study of nature. Physiologist is somebody who studies the human body, physiologist. Physics is the study of the physical world that we live in. I mentioned that I like trigonometry. I also liked physics. I actually like physics better than trigonometry. Then we have physical. Again, it has to do with nature, and so we have physical exercise, physical evidence. Number 4, log is speech, word, or reason. A dialogue, these two kind of go together. A dialogue is when two people are talking to each other. How are you today? I'm fine. And a monologue is when you talk to yourself. What am I going to do today? Pro is before, so prologue is something that is presented or written. It could, in a speech, it could be something that's spoken, but a prologue is something that goes before the main thing that you're going to say, tell you what's coming up and why it's important. Logic is actually a favorite subject of mine. that deals with sound reasoning. How do we know that that makes sense? And then logical, somebody who's logical is somebody who makes sense. They make good judgments. A logician is someone who studies logic. And by the way, it's a very involved and not easy subject, and yet an important and unfortunately neglected one. Because in logic, you'll study how to tell if an argument is valid or invalid. And it will also tell you the kind of fallacies that we can make in our thinking and how propaganda can lead us astray. A syllogism is a logical argument. All dogs are animals. Biscuit is a dog, therefore Biscuit is an animal. That gives you kind of a biscuit, a name there for a dog, huh? Logical. By the way, logical means you're thinking correctly, and then illogical means you are not thinking correctly. And I'm just wondering if you saw that disguised prefix there. It's actually in and with the meaning not, but that N becomes an L when the letter after it is an L. Do you remember what that's called? The linguists call that assimilation. I like to call it euphonic change, which means it's a change in the sound that makes it more pleasing. Just try and say illogical. It doesn't work. You have to make it illogical. Okay. Again, that's a disguised or chameleon prefix, as we've studied quite some time ago. Psyche, psyche. Psych, I should say, is mind or soul. Psychology is a study of the mind, and it is a fascinating and ever-changing and ever-growing study. Psychological, like a psychological examination. Psychologist is someone who studies psychology. Ology, remember, means study. So a psychologist is someone who studies. Psychoanalysis is it's an interesting subject. Sigmund Freud started that years ago, and there's questions about its validity. But psychoanalysis, when you talk to somebody about, especially about their past and how the past may be influencing the present, with the idea that when they come to a realization of why they feel a certain way about things now, because of things that happened in the past, they're able to deal with that better. I'm of the opinion just talking with people is healthy, good for the mind. Psycholinguistics, this is another favorite subject of mine, but it is a vast field. And it's how the mind operates in relationship with language. And that's a pretty advanced subject. Last, we have sphere, which means ball. And notice again that PH right there makes the F sound. And that is a Greek, I call it a Greek phonogram, a Greek spelling. So we have sphere, something that's round. Hemisphere is, hema is half. So hemisphere is, if I take a sphere and cut it in half, then I have a hemisphere. And in the other terms there, I'm going to give you the dictionary definition here of stratosphere. It is a noun. It's a layer of the Earth's atmosphere above the troposphere, extending to about 32 miles above the Earth's surface. It is the lower boundary of the mesosphere. And so you'll study that when you study, for example, weather. And then the ionosphere. The ionosphere is the layer of Earth's atmosphere that contains a high concentration of ions and free electrons and is able to reflect radio waves. It lies above the mesosphere and extends 50 to 600 miles above the Earth's surface. And that's important to me because as an amateur radio operator, I'm able to send signals all around the world by bouncing them off of the ionosphere. They go from my antenna all the way up, hit the ionosphere, and back down, so somebody a long ways off is able to hear my signal. I literally talk to people in almost every country of the world. Then next one we have the atmosphere. Atmosphere, and that is the envelope of gases surrounding the Earth or another planet. Now, these can have they have like a literal meaning, but they can also have like a figurative or an extended meaning. So sometimes we talk about the atmosphere being the pervading tone or mood of a place, situation, or work of art. And so let's say I walk into a room and there's a bunch of people and everybody's visiting and having fun, and I say, well, the atmosphere in here is very friendly. Next we have biosphere, and again, that's just the sphere of life. Then we have spherical, so something that's shaped like a ball is said to be spherical. And then the last one, I added this one, sphere of influence. That is the people that you're able to influence. And quite frankly, I'm hoping to influence a lot of people through this channel so that I can help people to improve their reading and improve their quality of life. And I am so glad that I'm able to do this, and I would love to hear from you. Okay, pressing on, we're going to go now to the practice sentences.